Hello, hello. This is Miss Linda, and you can see behind me the beautiful Sherwood Forest, which I'm celebrating because I'm reading Robin Hood this week. And I want to answer a question that came in one of the groups this week, which was to show a specific logic game and talk about how that helps with working memory. So I am going to now pull up on my screen here a question. I'm not exactly sure if you can see it, but hold on a second here. Uh, Ack, I don't know how to share my screen. So what I'm going to do is I'll just take you through this verbally. So one of the most famous kind of pop logic game questions is as follows. Brothers and sisters, I have none, but that man's father is my father's son. Who is that man? So this is a little bit of a brain teaser, so I'll repeat it again. But what I want you to do is grab a piece of paper and a pen, because the first thing I have my students do is write down the parts of a logic question. So go grab a piece of paper and a pen. I'll give you a minute. And the rest of us can just look at Sherwood Forest. Okay, and while everyone's grabbing a piece of paper and a pen, I am just going to say that this is the second in my series, Close the Reading Gap with Miss Linda. And the first explained the three top things that I do to help students with working memory, which is one of them is logic games. And I discovered logic games help with working memory after reading a scientific white paper on it, which said that you can improve working memory up to 40% by working with logic. So I've been doing this with my students and it is really making a difference. So here we go. Okay. So I want you to write down this sentence. Brothers and sisters, I have none, but that man's father is my father's son. Who is that man? So the first thing we're going to do is break this into parts. So brothers and sisters, I have none is the first phrase. So if I have no brothers and sisters, think about that. What does that make me? So I want you to write down on the paper, if I have no brothers and sisters, what does that make me? Okay. If you wrote down an only child, you're correct. So we've solved one piece of the puzzle right there. And we had to use prior knowledge to do that. A person who has no brothers and sisters is what? An only child. But I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you explicitly I'm an only child. I said I have no brothers and sisters. So you had to reach back into your mind for what reading teachers call prior knowledge and come out with the term only child. Okay, so you put down I'm an only child. Now, we've solved brothers and sisters, I have none. But that man's father is my father's son. So we look in those pieces for something else that we can solve. And we look at the piece we already solved. because logic problems are often sequential, meaning when you solve one piece, it helps you to solve another. So if I'm an only child, look at the pieces we have to solve, we still have to solve. If I'm an only child, who is my father's son? So write that down now under where you wrote my father's son in the initial sentence. If I'm an only child, which we've established, because I have no brothers and sisters, who is my father's son? Okay, if you wrote down my father's son is me, then you were correct because I have no brothers and sisters. My father's son can only be one person. My father's son can only be me. No one else there, no brothers, no sisters. So now we have two parts of the puzzle solved. So I'm an only child. My father's son is me. Now let's look at the middle part. That man's father. So I'm an only child. That man's father is, and that now we do a replacement. My father's son, we discovered was me. So we replace the word me in for my father's son. So that man's father is me. So now we can read the whole thing through. I'm an only child. That man's father is me. So who is that man? Well, if that man's father is me, if I'm his father, then he's my son, right? So that's the answer to the riddle. That man's father is me. That man is my son. Because I'm an only child. I have no brothers and sisters. So anyway, so taking a student through these processes causes them to have to create relationships between pieces of information. It causes you to have to reach into your mind, not for pieces of information that are too hard. It wasn't too hard to say, well, a person with no brothers and sisters is an only child. So it's not too challenging. It's not like Einstein's unsolvable question or something. We wouldn't want to do that to a middle schooler. But when you have to reach back and get a bit of information, but then you have to compare it and draw relationships to another information, a piece of information. And that basically, that comparing, it's a sorting. It's a sorting process. And also replacement of one piece of information for another. I mean, you think you're doing math for a second there because you're like substituting, right? But we have to do this all the time also in reading comprehension. We have to think, well, why did the character smile when something bad was happening? Well, we have to reach back in our mind to 40 pages before when something happened that made him smile. And we have to think, okay, what's reminding him? What is he thinking? So we have to reach back, but then we also have to compare the two scenarios. So retrieval and comparison is what logic is all about. And because IQ is normally measured as ability to sort, it's basic sorting ability. And the level at which you can sort is determined to be your IQ. It actually boosts IQ to become better and better with logic games. And you can see how a child who is not adept at sorting and comparing, once taught, will learn how to do these steps. So anyone can learn logic. It is learnable. And as you learn the procedures, the brain starts laying down pathways for doing this with, and then it's like a muscle. It's like any muscle. Once you start to use it, you'll start to apply it to all different things. So as we reading interventionists know, working memory can be a big issue with reading comprehension. Even with decoding, if you don't remember your spelling rules, or what sounds letters make, if you can't recall that information, you can use these games to increase their ability to do that. So again, I said this was part 2 of my series. So you can go to YouTube to my recorded lives, and you can catch part 1, where I went over the 3 basic categories of techniques that I use. And in this series, I'll sort of be breaking down more how I do things and what different activities that I use within these categories. So thanks for tuning in. And you can also go to my website, myhighimpacttutoring.com. Or if you just put in My High Impact Tutoring, I'm like #1 on a Google hit. I'm the only one who has that My High Impact Tutoring domain. And I have a blog right now up, which talks about working memory and has some of the citations from some of these journal articles in it. So you might want to check that out too. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.